Alright, in the previous videos we talked about quadratic equations and the fact that they graph as a parabola. They're equations that have x squared as the highest power in the equation. They graph like this sort of upwards curve as a parabola. If it was a negative x squared, then it'd be the upside down version of that. Okay, so that's the parabola. That's x squared. But what about equations that have cubed as the highest power in the equation? In other words, x cubed. So let's have a look at the graph of y equals x cubed, and we'll see on this side it's kind of like a parabola. It's a bit flatter at the bottom and it goes up steeper, and on the left hand side of 0 for our negative x values, it actually goes down. So like it takes a turn here in the middle. This is what we call a cubic equation, and this is how they graph. So let's have a quick look and see how they compare to, say, the parabola. So if we take a value of x equals 1, well, 1 squared is 1, so I can see that point there. 1 cubed is also 1, so you'll see that they actually both go through the same point there. But let's take an x value of 2. Well, 2 squared is 4, so that's where our parabola goes through the point 2, 4. But 2 cubed is actually 8. So when x equals 2, if we scroll up here, we can see that it goes through the point 2, 8. So it gets steeper faster because it's cubed. Now, what about on the negative side of things? Well, if we go negative 1 squared on our parabola, we get 1, because negative 1 times negative 1 gives me a positive 1. That's why it's up here. But for negative 1 cubed, I do negative 1 multiplied 3 times, I get negative 1 as my answer. So this is why this left-hand side of the graph starts to head downwards, because when we're cubing a negative number, we'll get a negative result. So it takes a twist and it goes down this way. And that's basically about it. So they can vary, they can get steeper. So let's get rid of our parabola, and we'll add, instead of x cubed, let's add 2x cubed. And you'll see that it gets steeper faster. And what about half x cubed? Okay, this one, half x cubed, gets steeper slower. Okay, so that's one way that they can vary. The last variation we want to have a look at, what if we had negative x cubed? Well, let's get rid of these ones. So there's x cubed on our graph. Negative x cubed is kind of like flipped in a sort of mirror along the y-axis here. Right, so negative x cubed looks like this line. So that's it. That's what we call the cubic equation. It's a basic intro to how they look when you graph them. It's something that has x cubed as the highest power in the equation. All right, good job. Well done.